The presenting sponsor of Upmarket is Fatello, the best AI editing platform. Snap, upload, and deliver at fatello.co.
Coming to you from the Upmarket studio in beautiful San Buenaventura, California, this is Upmarket, a podcast about the business of real estate photography and media. My name is Reed Fish. I'm the CEO and one of those pesky co-founders of Upmarket Media. And my other co-founder, Mark Corcoran, he doesn't come on these episodes. He's sitting, I don't know what he's doing. You know, it's right around his birthday, so hopefully he's like celebrating. I don't know where he is. But Molly Peart is here we're doing a remote episode today, so she is just, voiceless and you can't see her. But trust me, she's here and as wonderful as always. And this is a mastermind episode, so we have our mastermind crew here. But first, I do want to shout out iGuide for being our special collaborator on these episodes. And I do want to remind you that, yes, we have already started the road to PMRE. It is coming up. And this year, it is crazier than ever. iGuide is giving away 3 all expenses paid trips to PMRE with drawings in June, August, and I think September. So get in there, go to goiguide.com/PMRE. You can put in your email address and then follow us and follow iGuide on Instagram, and you will be entered to win. Those trips are worth thousands of dollars. And of course, PMRE is where it's at, is where I met all 3 of these people that are in our mastermind. It's Alex Coombs, Kelly Clark, and Jenn Lueck. Ladies, we also just got a chance to hang out all together for like almost a week, which was phenomenal, wonderful. We've been talking about it the last couple episodes on the show, but I think there was enough that went on that we should talk about it here too. And so we were all at the PMRE retreat in Cancun. Who wants to, like, just overall, do you have what's the general takeaway? Does anyone feel inspired to start?
Impactful. One word, impactful, I would say.
Yeah. Kelly? Jenn?
Yeah. My biggest thing, the difference for me with Cancun, so many things, but the takeaways, I leave PMRE Vegas with a checklist of 50 things that I need to do. This was just such a much bigger picture. Every single conversation that we had was so, like Alex just said, impactful, meaningful. We loved getting to know everybody outside of kind of that conference environment, because every conversation, we had some personal conversations, but just the depth of the conversations and what we got out of it was just huge. Our minds we're still reflecting on it. Just making sure that we're implementing and remembering everything that we took away, because it was a lot. It was deep,
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It was very impactful. Big picture kind of impactful, I'd say. It is just on a much different scale and much more thought-provoking for me. Whereas the regular conference, I have that same kind of checklist. I have a checklist, but it is on a longer term, more bigger scale.
Like a bigger picture,
yeah, exactly. So I would say that's the biggest difference for me, was just the long-term thought process behind it, rather than just what I'm going to implement now, as well as what I plan to do down the line.
I was just, as you all were talking, I was just kind of thinking about it, because I've now talked about it a bit, and I've downloaded with friends, and I feel like I've been almost like, I'm trying to put the correct word on the emotion, that I've felt like a little numb coming back, like not necessarily in a bad way, or I've been like, I don't want to say depressed, but I've just been like, oh boy, it's felt like heavy in a certain way, because I think we talk so much about the seismic shifts that have happened and are happening in the industry. And I think for a lot of it, it's really good. Some of it is like, a lot of it's scary. A lot of it, I don't know what's going to happen. And I think there was just so much going on, and so much like, Mark was here earlier today. We were kind of talking about it, of like, I think we almost feel some regret about how we've done our business, because we're there talking to these people who are more successful than us. And, it's like, oh, why haven't we been doing this? And, and so we're getting this comparison syndrome. And I think we feel really inspired and be like, oh, we can do this, we can do that, we can change our business. But, it just felt like, oh, we're at this, and I think it just feels like we are at this inflection point, and I know we need to make a change for the business. And I know that, there were a lot of things like that talked about at the retreat, but that comes at an emotional cost, right? I feel like we're breaking through this barrier. There's an emotional element to it. So I don't know. Have you had trouble re-entering back into like normal life after it? Anyone?
I felt the same way you felt. Like I felt extremely emotional being there.
Yeah. I think
To
we
the point,
cried together once, actually.
yeah, no, it's true. There was one
Yeah.
point where I was just like, I came down and Mags was there, and I just like literally started bawling because I was like, I know there's so many things that are happening and changes that I can implement, and it's like overwhelming because you know like what you've built and you know how like good that is, but like the different things that you could be doing, what you see other people doing, and like big picture stuff. I was just, it got to the point where it's like I can't talk about work for 24 hours because I'm
Yeah.
so overwhelmed. And if somebody asks me another like, what's your AOV, I'm gonna lose my shit. So it was like, I'm just like, I need time to process what's
Right.
already in here. I feel
Right.
anxious, paranoid, happy, and I cried,
Right.
but like, yeah,
Right.
definitely.
Right.
Mhm.
And I remember you saying that day, and then you talked about business for 3 more hours after that. But
Not by choice, probably.
yes, I know exactly. But it just ends up there. I mean, what about you all? Have you?
Yeah,
how have you been
100%.
feeling?
I actually avoided Ollie on, what was it, Thursday, when we were supposed to go do those like interviews up in the room.
Oh,
I didn't go up there. I did one via Zoom with him later, but part of it was because I did feel really emotional and I knew that would read all over my face. And I just was like, I don't want to go up there until I've had a chance to kind of reflect and
Right.
be in a different headspace. And he's just like the nicest human being ever.
And so
I
we're
had a
talking about
great
Oliver
chat with him.
Ward. Oliver Ward at the who was one of the attendees who's been on the show. He asked us for Brandon Cooper to kind of record like our thoughts and stuff about it. And so we all were invited up to the conference room to sit. And so but you had a Zoom, and did you keep it together on the Zoom?
I did. No, it was wonderful. And I mean, honestly, yeah, I definitely felt overwhelmed and had a lot of emotions to work through. But I will say that since coming back, I feel a lot better. I think one of the things that really got to me and actually was kind of depressing for me was realizing that a lot of people in that room are not passionate about this industry and they don't enjoy doing it. And that for me, honestly, it sucked. It sucked to see that because it's like, I still have a love of shooting and I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. And then to find out and see that a lot of the people, I mean, I don't mean that in a negative way for them. It just was something I wasn't expecting. And so it was a little disheartening. Like, am I building a business to get to the point where I hate what I do? Because that's not what I want to do. Or I'm dissatisfied, or it's not where my passion lies. So that was unexpected for me. And I had to work through some of those emotions.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah. I would almost frame it that I think a lot of people there have gotten to the point where, and even me, like I wouldn't say I hate it, but like I don't have the passion.
Strong word
for it.
choice on my part.
Yeah. No. But I think, I'm not trying to, but I'm just like, I think you could reframe it too as like, a lot of people have gotten to the point where they just see it as a business, and their passion for it is absolutely gone.
Yeah. I see where Jen's coming from, because like I'm teetered on it. Like I'm not passionate about shooting a house anymore. I'm passionate about new things that are coming in. So like it makes me excited to bring in all these new elements and how can I do this? How can I do this? How can I be more efficient? Like that's what I'm excited about now. Not so much like the real estate. Like I could care less about shooting a house, honestly.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kelly, how have you been feeling?
Definitely numb when we came home. I just remember that boat ride was just like, I felt like everybody was just staring into the ocean like, holy shit, what just happened? You know?
Yeah, we took like a sunset cruise on the last night, on the Thursday night. Yeah.
Yeah. So like Jen, I kind of share the same things. It was helpful for me to be in a room with people to go, okay, I want to find something that I am really passionate about within this business. I don't agree with the sentiment that realtors are idiots. There was some talk of that sometimes, and like that hurts my heart because we are so close to our clients. They are feeding our entire team. Like we have so much gratitude for it. We get in the weeds of course all of us do, but at the end of the day, like we try to be so grateful for them feeding
Well,
our
that's
whole team.
inspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't love,
I could
I'm
work on
so,
that.
say it again.
I could work on that.
Oh, I'm not targeting
Yeah.
you at all, Reed. I actually didn't hear
Yeah,
those
yeah.
words come out of your mouth, but
Oh,
you know,
have you ever listened to this show?
Okay, that's fair. I was talking about Cancun.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about just kind of honing in on, I'm loving building our team. I'm loving building our culture. Like that's something that I'm really passionate about. So, you know, me just stepping out of the admin has changed every single thing. And so it was really cool being around people, just hearing how they're running their bigger teams, because we are just brand new to kind of ramping up as far as how many people are on our team. So it's like, that was super cool. Yeah, we felt numb. We felt exhausted. We felt completely, I felt like so many of the conversations went in a direction that I never anticipated. Just, I was really surprised, I guess, at the things that people, sorry, I'm having like, I need water, at the things that people were talking about. So,
Getting choked up.
I got choked up. I'm not crying, I promise.
Well, do you have an example, like, and you don't have to use anyone's name, but do you have an example of what, you know, like what kind of conversations were those that were surprising to you?
Just like the fear-based conversations, like, is there going to be a flying orb? Is AI going to take over our jobs? You know, that type of stuff. I was just like, I don't know. We're so heavy on client relationships that maybe I'm naive, but I was like, that will never take us out. I hope, you know, we're just going to lean so hard into the relationship stuff and continue doing what we're doing. And we do have a lot of momentum. We just don't have that fear-based mentality. So I was a little surprised at like people that are doing this at much larger scale than we are, having kind of a fear-based mentality. And I was like, well, am I supposed to feel that way? Because I don't. Like, can I just be this happy little moron oblivious over here? I don't know.
Yeah, I think I recommend that. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. This angst is no fun. You know, I don't think you want to live with it. Yeah.
I see that.
Jen, I had a question for you in particular, because I feel like you probably had the least experience and probably the smallest business of anyone in the room. How did that feel, and how did you and do you feel like you that you not only got value, but that you could bring value as well?
Yeah, it was super intimidating going, honestly. From the time I got that email with the invite, my first knee jerk was like, no, you know, I'm not ready for that. And Nick my husband was like, well, yeah, you got to go. I mean, I selfishly probably had the most to gain by being in there, because I'm at a point in my business where you always hear people talk about, if I'd known then what I know now, and I had access to 20 businesses, which are so much further along and bigger, and I'm able to pull on that thread of their experience and really just get direct advice on such an intimate scale. That for me, yeah, I definitely felt like it was impactful. Now, as far as being able to give feedback to the other people in that room, I don't know if I did contribute or not. I hope that what I brought was, you know, seeing through things through different lens, somebody starting, you know, a little bit of a fresh perspective, because I think if you're doing something long enough, you get a lot very set in your ways. So some of the things that I'm viewing or not as fearful of, whether it's naivety or if it's because I just view things differently, I hope I was able to contribute in that way and show people that there is still a passion for it. I think whether it changes or pivots via technology with AI, whatever it is, I still think that creative people find ways to be creative.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
those tools are just potentially going to be used in different ways, or however AI is incorporated and what that might look like. I think truthfully, I went in feeling intimidated and a little small and fearful. And I actually have a lot more confidence now. That's something that I brought back with me, is I don't feel as insecure. I do have a lot more confidence, because I actually realized that while I'm small, I'm actually doing pretty gosh darn good. So
Yeah,
I'm very proud of that. And I think I only have but up to go based on those interactions and what people have said. So I feel like it was so impactful for me because the people that I did talk to, whenever I would mention something about my insecurities or I don't know, and they'd always be like, but you're doing fine. You're actually doing really good. And that was a huge confidence booster to hear people that I admire or look up to say, no, you're killing it. You're doing really good.
Yeah.
That felt so rewarding and gave me some a little bit of a different perspective.
Yeah. Well, I felt like you absolutely held your own, you know, but
Oh, thank you.
absolutely. Yeah. And, you know, and I'm glad to hear you say that. And I do think there's, and we kind of talked about it, you know, privately or in the context of this podcast too, because you have the smallest business of any of us. And like, and I think sometimes there can be like, oh, what am I going to contribute? What am I going to do? But, you know, I think two things, you know, we have our listeners are all over the map in terms of where they are in their businesses. And so I think they can probably see a proxy for where they are in their business in each of us. And so, you know, for the people who are a little less experienced, they get to, you know, going to go through, they're having the same issues you're having. But then also I think there's value. I always find it, and even some of the people there who had the biggest businesses, and I think we talked about it and they felt the same way, is that when you are actually an open book and when you are actually talking to people who need your advice or want your advice, sometimes that really helps you crystallize your thoughts because you're trying to reprocess your thoughts and your experiences into a digestible format for somebody else. And then I think you can actually tick into having some breakthroughs for yourself when you're talking about that. And I mean, that's been true on this podcast the whole time. Just the act of Mark and I just talking through stuff on here and synthesizing it to be digestible to a broader audience. We've had so many aha moments just in those conversations. And, you know, and so like, I think those conversations are valuable no matter what, you know, whatever level you're at.
I love that perspective. Thank you.
Hey man, this business, it seems, can be all about speed. Our realtors want stuff fast. We want to get stuff done fast. And what I don't like though, is when in the pursuit of speed, we compromise quality. And with Fotello, we don't have to do that. Fotello has increased the speed of our post-production workflow immeasurably, but yet we have not sacrificed quality. Our photos are looking as good as ever with Fotello. The AI editing source that Upmarket has been using since last summer, it's been fantastic. It has helped transform our business. So if you want to check it out, go to fotello.co and you can see what their Photon 6.1 is all about on how well it does with your photos, with your HDR photos, how well it does with virtual twilights, virtual staging, all sorts of stuff that is fantastic, and all the kind of offerings that all of your clients are expecting it in this day and age. So we really heartily endorse Fotello. Go to fotello.co. You can use the code 50UP to get 50% off your first month of service. Also included in what you're paying for editing is you can deliver, there's booking, there's so many tools to help run your business also in Fotello. But really the AI editing is, to me, what stands out and what sets them apart in the marketplace. Fotello.co. Use the code 50UP. HD Photo Hub. I know a lot of people actually have been reaching out to us that they've been switching over to HD Photo Hub and they are loving it. They're loving, I talk about it all the time, but those marketing kits, man, I was just talking to someone and they were saying how they were contemplating going to HD Photo Hub and then they showed some of their clients the marketing kits and every client was like, yes, I want that and I will pay extra to have access to that. So HD Photo Hub is a way that not only can you make your business more efficient, but you can make more money from it. So you're increasing efficiency and at the same time generating revenue that you could not generate unless you were using HD Photo Hub. So what a fantastic deal. If you want to check that out, and I implore you to do that, it's hdphotohub.com and you can use the code UPMARKET and you're going to get 15 free full deliveries. So, one of the things about HD Photo Hub is instead of a high monthly fee, you are paying per delivery. So you can work that into your prices. You know exactly how much you are going to pay for each delivery. And that is actually a really useful tool as you are growing your business. So you're going to get 15 free full deliveries if you check out HD Photo Hub and use the code UPMARKET. overall, it was this emotional journey, but like, can we just talk about something maybe specific that we brought back that we've already implemented or are planning on implementing that, you know, is something that, you know, our viewers, listeners can hang their hat on and maybe incorporate into their own stuff? You know, what's like a cool, like almost an action item takeaway that you got?
I've got 3
Kelly?
just in one conversation with,
Oh.
and I know Eon listens, so I'm going to shout him out real quick.
Oh, of course.
Fabulous conversation with him, and I literally had 3 takeaways from it that I implemented that night. I sent my team a message, or 3 separate messages. So one, I told him we were struggling with our Lux videographer getting editing notes to our editors. So like our Lux videographer is super excited about the video. He doesn't add notes always just because he's exhausted, overworked, whatever. And then he gets the video back and he's like, oh, and that like breaks my heart because he had a vision for it. And so I was telling Eon about that, and he's like, have him talking to the camera as he's filming with what he wants to happen. I'm like, never thought of that. No idea why. As he's walking down the hall, this would be really cool to do whip to drone right here. Started doing that the next day, changed everything. So that was a huge unlock for us. I don't know if it was as exciting to y'all as me, but I was super excited about that one. We've been struggling. We do use auto HDR for our photos. For our Lux listings, we wanted still a human editor. He hooked me up with the guy that he had to move on from for, you know, his process changed. This guy didn't have as much work. Beautiful. I mean, it is 0 uptick whatsoever. I mean, it was just like, okay, here's a job. The guy's like, yep, I'm doing awesome communication. You know, Eon introduced us to him. Done. He's doing all of our Lux photo editing now, and he's doing a beautiful job. We literally have not sent 1 photo back, so that was amazing. Third one, he asked like how our virtual twilights are looking, and I showed him. He's like, ugh, so you got those yellow windows, and I was like, I do? Well, what's the deal? He's like, Lux needs white windows for twilight, for virtual twilight, and I was like, no shit. So next day, we're doing white virtual twilights. We've gotten all this great feedback on it, and now I look at the yellow ones from all of 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, yeah, those look awful.
So the yellow twilight windows, is that through auto HDR, or are you doing something different?
Actually, those are through Gemini, because auto HDR isn't great yet about the shadow removal, which is big for us with all the trees. So we do throw them through Gemini, but now we just changed the prompt. The VA changed the prompt to make them white. So much better.
Well, and I will shout out that Fotello has a really great virtual twilight thing, and the shadows are out. I mean, they look really cool. So I think the windows are kind of yellow, but you know, you may be able to prompt that out as well. Mm-hmm. So, you know, no one paid me to say that actually. So
no one paid you.
No one paid me to say it. Yeah.
There's a little Fotello hand right now giving you $10.
Yeah, right.
I just can't see it.
I don't know. Is there? There's a neon sign right behind me. Oh my God! Look at that! Oh God!
Brutal.
Anyone else have a takeaway?
Yeah, I'll go. So I have a couple actually. So one of which Kelly actually helped me out with. We need to implement a couple VAs into our system. We've been having our admin handle a lot of our quality control and inputting the orders, and we're busy enough now that she is so overwhelmed. She cannot be doing all that. We need her to do the things that we need her most for our clients, you know, communications and scheduling and some things like that. So we reached out to the QC company that Kelly hooked us up with. And so we are getting that going, which is going to take some pressure off our admin and help us get our systems a little smoother. And then we also were talking about our workload, and we are so far booked out right now that we don't have a lot of room to accommodate reschedules, or we might be losing work just based on the fact that we're booking so far in advance. So I have definitely moved forward with trying to hire a part-time person. Just put out a little ad. So I'm hoping to have somebody hired pretty quick. But basically the takeaway was if you need to be more at like 80% capacity. And then if you're hitting 90 or above that, maybe be looking to bring somebody else on, because at that point I'm probably losing work because they're going elsewhere. And again, you know, my people are going to burn out if we're all so packed, and I'm already in the field more than I want to be because I have to be due to our schedule being overloaded. So those were two big takeaways, is getting somebody and getting the help so that we can actually fulfill those orders. Because even if we bring somebody else on, if we don't have the ability to deliver everything on time, that's obviously a problem. And so we just need more help in general to keep up with our growth.
All right. Oh, that's a good
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, go girl.
Yeah, that's well done. I like that you recognize that though, because even like when you're 80-90%, it's still scary to bring someone on and be like, can I promise them X amount of hours, or am I just going to hire them and then they're going to hate me because I can't do anything? So
I'm
that's
just going to
wicked.
have to chance it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I'm going to refer back to my full plate theory, but it's just like, yeah, you're going to hire that person, you're going to put a plate down. And it's like, then it becomes your responsibility to fill it. And you're going to want to, right? Because filling that plate means more work. So yeah, it'll be satisfying for you for sure.
Yeah.
And then I guess for me, I think like I didn't do anything where like I implemented anything new. I just felt extremely inspired to like do different things. I went in there with an idea of how to create like more volume. One thing that I was inspired by was different technology that is brought to our attention. So whether it's a different camera or whatever it is, it's like I went in there trying to figure out how can I do more volume at a low dollar. So there was a lot of people talking about the ways we could do that. And I came back and I'm like, I'm trying to create a new company and like do something that's more volume based, while NSM is always going to be boutique because I want best of both worlds. And then just listening to Matt talk and just seeing what Matt has done.
Matt Gia.
Matt Gia, yes, my handsome man from Auto HCR. He's just something else overall.
That's a smart guy. Yeah.
I'm sweating.
Whoa.
Yeah. So hearing Matt talk about Cloud Code and like seeing his dashboards, I was like, okay, Matt, you're coming to my office early and you're going to implement this for my team. So like I'm getting everybody do like their accountability list. So I know exactly what everyone's accountable for. Nothing's falling through the cracks. Nothing is being missed. People aren't doing two things. Everything is clear. And I realized like I didn't do that while we grew. So everybody didn't know what they're accountable for, and that's my responsibility. So yeah, everyone this week is sending me their accountability list, and it's good. It's good.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I think like there were so many things, but the thing that's on my mind is really how we have, I think I have this feeling, and I talked about it with Mark this morning, a little bit of like, we've really been unable to grow our business in the way to the level that we've wanted it to go, because we've been together 5 years now. And the way I kind of put it to Mark is like, I think we've grown in those 5 years. We've grown a decent amount, but I think we've grown on the basis of the reliability of our business and then our personalities and our like, and I think, and I mean our personalities in that, when we're just out networking, or our old clients know Mark and I, and so they recommend new clients, and where it's not about our company, it's still Mark and I. And so I think what has happened is we have just taken that about as far as it can go. And that's, I think, the reason we have not been able to break into the new areas that we want to break into, is because we don't have the time or the wherewithal to want to drive that hour up there and to be at all the events, to do all this stuff. And so I think that we are at this inflection point where we really need to change how we are doing business. And my biggest takeaway from that is we need a sales team. We need people who are dedicated to sales. And if we are going to break out into a new area, we need to have someone there on the ground, shaking the hands, doing broker presentations, doing all the things, because we can't be there. And not only can't we be there, we don't want to be there. And that's going to show through in all of those interactions. And so I think we are better served by us doing streamlining our operations more. And I think, like, it's not that we don't want to work, but it's just like, oh, that's not actually the best use of our time. And when we can, and we talked to a couple people, notably Dustin McKibben, who was just on the podcast, and he shared some of the same things that I'm talking about now. And then Alex Aaron, those two guys who have scaled their businesses to be regional companies, talking to them about how they employ salespeople and how how that works in their business was completely invaluable, and just made me realize that if we really want to grow, which we do, right? And that's the thing. Do you want to get big? I mean, and some people don't, right? Oh, I
Yeah.
want to get to this point and that's it, because I don't want to have to manage 15 people. But I think in order for us to do that, we do have to change things. And I think a sales team is probably the best and first step that we should take to do it.
Yeah. I need that too, but I just don't want I just don't want to pay for it. I know.
That's a heavy
So
lift.
you don't want
That's
to
an
pay money to
expensive-
grow your business? Yeah.
Well, I also just don't know how much it costs. I need a lesson on it. That's for sure.
Well, okay.
Like, I
So
do.
basically and Dustin and that show isn't out yet, but you can listen to it. At this point it's already out, but he kind of laid out, like, he pays like a base salary, and then, which I think is, enough to get by and, whatever. And then it's basically commission. So if they make a sale, or if they convert a client, then the sales agent gets 50% of the first shoot, and they get 40% of the second shoot, 30% of the third shoot, and like 10% of the fourth shoot. And then the commission structure is over. That by then that client is now, a regular client. So,
That's interesting.
it all doesn't have to be, just, oh, you're on a salary and it's $100,000 a year. And oh my God, I have to come up with $8,000 a month to pay you. It's like, oh no, well, here you can be paid, whatever minimum wage. And then you're also, you work on commission. And so and then they're incentivized, of course, to get more clients. And then when they do, then they can actually make a really good living, and they're going to be really incentivized to do that for you. It's, it's a win-win for everybody, right? So, because if you just have someone on salary and they're not getting commission, it's just their incentive structure, they're just not going to be quite as hungry, I think.
For sure.
And,
Yeah.
and where you just set it up and that's, of your success is our success is your success. I mean, let's, it's a way to kind of have teamwork to do this together, to make sure everyone's incentives align to make the business stronger and bigger and better.
That's cool that the commission stops after that fourth. Like I've never heard that put that way. Or structured that way.
Well, I think there's no
sales.
one way. There's no one way to do it, right? And so I think, and maybe you would want to do it where no, they're going to get, after that fourth shoot, they're going to get 5% of that person's spend. It's, as long as they work for the company. I mean, I think that that's a reasonable way to do it too. And then what you do is you make it so that your salesperson has a career with you, right? Where they're going to continually see money if they continue to work for you. So, I don't know. I mean, there's no one way to do it, but yeah, I know it's great. And I really think that, Mark and I need to, that's kind of priority number one. Well, I don't know. We have like 6 priority number ones right now, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
iGuide, come on. We've been talking about iGuide on this show quite a bit because, we've got these giveaways going. So go to goigguide.com/PMRE to get in there to win one of those 3 big trips. But also, while you're there, click onto the regular iGuide site. You can see what they're all about and how they are bringing speed and accuracy to floor plans and virtual tours. I mean, really, iGuide is such a great product. And of course, they are agnostic. They can be put anywhere. So they can be put on homes.com. They can be put on Zillow. They can be put on the MLS. All those places that your clients actually want these tours to show up, they will show up. That is one thing for sure. So thank you to that. Thank you for that, iGuide. And also when they're there, they can check out those site plans. The site plans are phenomenal. It really is the first time there's an easy solution for buyers and agents to be able to see what the whole property looks like. Really, really fantastic. So go to goiguide.com and go to goiguide.com/PMRE to enter that contest. You will not be sorry you make the switch to iGuide. We have, and we're loving it. It was a pretty sad day for me the other day because I actually had to go out and do some work out in the field. I had to do this little project in Ojai. No one else was going to be in Ojai. And I'm like, fine, I'll go do it. So I went and I had to do floor plan. And it was this big property with a bunch of houses on it. guest houses and a gym. And so, there was this one, it was a gym. It was about 400 square feet, no walls, just some windows, about the most boring floor plan you could ever do in your life. But I just got a little joy when I opened up that second floor app. The second floor app makes doing floor plans a breeze and makes them fun every single time. I love second floor app. You know that by now. So second floor app, you can do fast, accurate floor plans just using your phone. What an amazing technology. And then you can deliver those floor plans instantly. This is such a great technology. Second floor app. So go to secondfloorapp.com/upmarket. You're going to get a free month of service, so you can do floor plans of as many tiny small gyms as your heart can muster in 1 month. I mean, who doesn't want to do that? secondfloorapp.com/upmarket. Yeah, I mean, would you guys consider a salesperson?
I've wanted one.
But Kelly, what do you think?
Yeah, we've wanted one, although we haven't been able to service our current client base. And something that stood out to me in Cancun was the guys that are doing volume are chilling. Like they weren't. I felt like we were still working. Our offering is too complicated, or it is complicated, and it is what it is. We've done well with it, but we have already established a new business. Same deal that Alex was talking about. Simple, high volume. Simple to get good people to do the work. It's not as complicated as what we've set up on the boutique side. So we're going to do both. And I'm thinking that we would probably utilize a salesperson more on the volume side, just because it's not a known company yet. And we've already got a VA in mind that's, the sister-in-law of our top VA that runs all of them over in the Philippines. So, we've already got a contact. She's comfortable on the phone, banging phones, cold calling. It's such an easy product and offering versus what we're doing with Local Flavor right now. So that's kind of our plan for sales. I know that our coach has talked to us about eventually bringing on a salesperson, but we need to build our team more, because we do zero client acquisition right now for Local Flavor, because we've got 6 now full-time pretty much in the field. And so we're finally getting to a point where it's like, maybe we should start doing sales, but I don't want to pay somebody to go then not be able to service these clients.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
Well, hold on.
Yes.
You started a new company?
Yeah. We did after Cancun.
Oh.
Good job.
It's simple. It's
okay.
We're launching it.
Yeah.
What's it called?
It's called Listing Media Kit. It's high technology, easy capture, easy to train. We've actually identified a secondary market. We're not going to go to market in Atlanta with this. And so we've identified a secondary market, and we're working on hiring that team right now.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much doing the same thing. That is hilarious.
Bury the lead, Kelly. It's like, what was your big takeaway from Cancun? Oh, I don't know. I started a whole new company in the last 2.5 weeks. Yeah. Okay. That's great.
Sorry. I thought you said simple takeaway. Well, this was a simple takeaway, but we've
No. I'm just laughing because that's like, oh wow, you just dropped a bomb on us, but that's cool.
Yeah, we're excited. We're super excited about it. I hope that it's going to take off the way that we anticipate, but we got to test it first, and especially testing the market. It's hard to know where to go next, and we don't want to compete with ourselves. We've tried to figure out if it makes sense to have another offering in Atlanta that's lower end, not as expensive, all that stuff, but we are not doing that quite yet. We want to start in a completely separate market where we're not competing with ourselves, or we don't want to encourage our current client base, because sorry to say this word again, Alex, but our AOV has been really climbing a lot, and we don't want to cannibalize what we've already built with Local Flavor by then them going, oh, this is pretty sick for a third of the cost, quarter of the cost. So we're just going to go elsewhere first and see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, that's something we've been thinking about too, because I think one of the takeaways, I think for everybody from Cancun, is how do we actually simplify what we offer? And
Yes.
is there a way that we can do this where we can, simplify capture, simplify our workflows to get it where it's like we can just have a very repeatable product that is maybe not the most high-end product out there, but that it looks pretty damn good, but is simple. And can we offer it for a flat fee to be like, it's $500 and for any house up to 5,000 square feet, and that's it.
Yep.
And then and you just do it, and it's going to take our shooters an hour to 2 hours to capture it, and then we just do the same thing every single time, and in a way make it as cookie cutter as possible. I feel like there's a path for that, but at the same time you're like, well, our average order value is over $500, so what, do you cannibalize the stuff? I think as long as I think we still would have to offer the more high-end luxury products and the bespoke videos and all that type of stuff. I just don't think we can get rid of that. But what, because what we're thinking is, how do we get that person who spends the base amount of money for us, where $350 you get for a 1,200 square foot house, you get photos and a floor plan. And we have so many agents who will only ever do that. And maybe if it's a luxury product, they'll do drone. But how do you get them to then say, well, if I'm spending $350, well, I can spend $500 or $550 and I get all this different stuff. And it's like, as this big bundle, it's almost like it's so good that they can't pass it up. But then I also, don't want the person who spends $900 to say, well, I can just get this for $500. So but having a different brand in a different area actually is a really good idea.
I love it. I'm going to message you later.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And I mean, we almost got rid of our $350 base photo package because we just don't do it. So it's kind of flipped from what you guys are talking about to where, I mean, we just don't get those. The people that are not qualified for drone, they're not working because everybody's getting our next package up. So we wouldn't be trying to convert people to spend more money. I think we would be taking away from everything that we've already built, which is why we just want to do something totally separate. And I think it's a great offering. Wow. It's simple and repeatable. We were talking to this businessman in San Diego, and he's like, do you know where I made my millions? Gel pens from China. I mean, like the simplest product. And it's just like, we heard that so many times in Cancun that just the simple things sound so great to us at this point because we've only been luxury boutique, and we were wondering, was this ego? Why did we go this direction for boutique? Because it is so complex. We're charging a lot of money, and then people are scrutinizing everything, and it's just, we need so much admin and so many things go along with it, but it also stretches our brain. So did we want that? Was it because we thought luxury was better? Because the more people we talked to in Cancun, the volume simple sounded amazing. And maybe we wouldn't appreciate it as much if we went right into that direction versus what we're doing now. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you why you did it. I mean, from my perspective, I think why we all did it is like, oh, we're all artists. And then we're coming to this as like, how can I use these skills that I have and turn it into something I can make some money at? And then at a certain point you realize, oh, actually I'm a business person now. And so then all of a sudden those things of like easy and scale, you're like, oh yeah, that really sounds great, because all the headaches that come with the artistic side. And that's like, and then that of course, and it speaks to what Jen said earlier of how, oh, everyone hates it, hates their businesses, but yeah, because, the pesky clients have like, and just the headaches of everything have driven the love of all that away. Right. And so you're just like, oh, I just want this thing to be headache free. And then my dream is like, oh, I can make it headache free. And then I can actually do creative projects that I'm actually interested in on the side, so, while having the money to, process film or whatever it is I want to do,
Yeah.
Like, are we all inspired to be using more AI, or are you just like, oh, fuck AI? How are we feeling?
Always more.
Yeah, always more.
No,
Always.
I'm trying
I'm doing what
to.
Matt does. I just talk to my laptop now. Like I downloaded Whisperflow, and I'm just like la 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 la, and then it just does it, and I'm like, oh, thank God.
Oh, interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah. I'm a bad typer.
Jenn,
Sorry, Jen, I interrupted you.
No, I was like, what is Whisperflow? So we'll be looking into it after. No, I've tried a little bit with Claude Code, just kind of trying to figure out how to do things. It's something that's pretty foreign to me, so I'm I figure you got to start somewhere. Why not just try? You're just going to learn by doing.
I think we're always interested in it. It's just a matter of like, it just is, it's the same old thing. I feel like we got back and then the next day it was spring break for both Mark and I, for our kids. And then we talked about it on the show already, but then, so we were both traveling with our kids for spring break. And then, Chelsea, our admin, was also on spring break and on vacation. And so it fell to Mark and I to do the admin. And so that just felt like it didn't, suck the wind out of our sails, but it was definitely like, oh my God, we're back in the thick of it. It was like, we're on the high of Cancun and then we come back and it was like, oh, now we have to do the minutia detail of the stuff that actually drives us crazy and we're so sick of, and is the stuff that really, has zapped the love of the business out of it. And all of a sudden we're back in the thick of it, dealing with, the missed bathroom shots and just annoying realtors who are just, can't figure out this, can't figure out that. Chelsea got back and then we just had like a week of like, oh my God, it's like we can, but then it was like getting back into like daily life routine. I just feel like we haven't had time to sit down and actually implement some of this stuff. And so it's, and thankfully we've been busy. I mean, it's been such a slow year, but now at least we're busy. So that's, that's a good problem to have. But, I was really ready to, I'm gonna hit the ground running. We're going to do all this stuff. And then of course it's like, it's then you have to live life, you have to run your business, and so it's always hard to do that. And and then next week, in 10 days, Molly and I are going to Canada, which we're super excited about, to go to the north. In fact, I think when this episode comes out, we will be in Canada, and going to the Northern Spruce Summit. So
Woohoo!
yeah, that's super exciting. But yeah, have you in that transition back into the regular business, like, do you feel like you've all had the chance to actually sit down and actually make some of these changes?
We have
Trying.
Yeah. We have such strong our admin is out for 2 weeks, our stateside admin. So we've got a stateside admin full time, and then we've got a Filipino admin, and she's fantastic. Between the two of them, they have changed our entire lives, world, everything. We've got time to think and implement big stuff. I feel like now we're, not to be cheesy, but now we're just steering the ship. Not just, we're still dealing with, Reed, what you're talking about. Had a photographer forget, or she took a key home with her last night and texted me at 10:30 saying, holy shit, I've got a key with me. And I'm just, then we got to figure those things out. Those things drive me insane, but 99% of that stuff our admins are handling now, and they're doing a fantastic job. And it does hurt to pay the money, but it is so worth it, because then we're able to implement this big stuff that moves us forward in a much more meaningful way than dealing with those 10 o'clock phone calls about that or missed shots, stuff like that.
Yeah, because I think the thing that's so important to say is that, yes, it's painful because it costs, but it buys you time. And I think that's what's the most valuable thing.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, and when you get all of those spinning things out of your head, that is the minutia, it's amazing the ideas that we've been able to actually implement it, but just to even think about it, because my brain has been working in a completely different way once I got out of admin, to where it's like, okay, let's grow this business. How are we going to do this? And I never had the brain power to do that before, because I was just absolutely exhausted. Brian would come home, he'd be in the car after a shoot. He'd have all this time to clear his mind, think about stuff. And I was just spinning in admin. So he'd come home and want to talk about these ideas, and I couldn't entertain any of it because I was just done. So they have freed up so much time, but brain space also to be able to figure out what's next.
I think, Kelly, I want to shout you out. I want to shout you and Brian out, because I feel like I've known you guys a couple years now, and I've seen like your business has changed so much in the last 2 years, and you guys have come so far. It's so impressive. Like, you've lapped us, I feel like, I think when we first met you guys, oh my God, we're inspired by Upmarket, we did this. And I'm like, you guys are so far ahead of us at this point. You have really just like turbocharged, and it's such an inspiration. And I think and hopefully so many of our listeners can, see it as inspiration too, but you guys are just absolutely destroying it. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you so much. And I think that, because we're a married couple, it helps so much. We can go twice as far, twice as fast. We just weren't utilizing our resources in the right way. And we feel the same way. We go to Cancun and we're like, why did it take us so long to figure out these things? And also, we have so much more to figure out still. And it is so hard to listen. It's not hard. It's awesome to hear people that have been doing it like a year, 2 years. These guys are like 20 years old, and we're going.
Jenn Lueck, yeah.
Damn, yeah, Jen's
I'm not 20 years old, that's for
Absolutely.
sure.
Oh, it's so hard not to beat yourself up, to go, why did it take us this long to get here? And we've not even made it by far yet. But I appreciate you saying that, Reed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it, and it goes, and obviously I would include Jenn with that as well, because, obviously you've come from not having a business 2 years ago and to where you are now. It's really incredible. But I think I do want to point out, I think for all of us really, and now I've known, I guess I met Jenn 3 years ago, but but I've known Alex 2 years and Kelly 2 years from PMRE. But all of us, I think, the general takeaway for me for all of this goes back to finding people who are in the same situation as you and communicating and networking and coming to these events. Like, I think for I feel like I just harp on it so much, but we all met at PMRE. We all of our lives have changed because we go to those type of events.
Yeah.
And I think to be in this business and to isolate yourself is, you can still do it, but I think the key to unlocking so much is actually just talking to people and talking to people who have these similar businesses as you do. Like, I cannot overstate how much I think all of our lives have changed because we did that simple thing of just going to a stupid conference. And then of how it has changed and how it will change from going to this retreat. I think it just, like, if I cannot do an ad for PMRE enough. And I think Northern Spruce Summit, I think we're going to do that. I don't want to have it just be PMRE, but, and I know, Alex, you were so inspired by that. You're like, I want to do something like that on my own. I want to do something in Canada that's Canada focused. And it is just so invaluable. And it is really the key to unlocking the success that you are looking for in a business.
Yeah,
So,
I agree. Community is everything. It really is. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Reed. I wouldn't met Reed if it wasn't for PMRE. I wouldn't know about PMRE if it wasn't for Aereo, so it's just, it's like, right. It all ties into one big family.
Yeah. And then even just doing this, being in the Mastermind podcast, whatever, we meet, once a month for an hour, but, I think it's really, it helps. And it's like, it's I don't know. I don't want to get all sappy, but it's pretty great. So
we were so sad to leave Cancun. I'm like, those are our buddies. Like, we felt so tight with everybody after that. It was literally sad to get on the plane, which PMRE Vegas is awesome, but that retreat was just totally special in a different way. We just felt so close to everybody and just truly felt like everybody got so much out of it. It's just awesome.
Yeah. And I know, obviously, Brandon's going to do that again. And so obviously, if you ever are a listener and you hear about it, try to make it happen for yourself. Cause I think it was so great. I think there's going to be probably multiple ones per year because it was really, I think, just transformative for so many people. And, and I just wish everyone could have that experience that we were able to have. Well, thank you, everyone, once again for doing this. We were probably supposed to talk about whatever. I don't know what we're supposed to talk about. This is what I wanted to talk about. So that's what we talked about.
It was good.
Yeah. Thank you to all four of you. And thank you, of course, to our sponsors for us being able to do this. Shout out Brandon Cooper, PMRE. Obviously, we're always talking about you, always throwing the love to you. And then, of course, Molly, thank you. And more importantly, it's really our community is not just these four people here. It is not just everyone at PMRE, but it includes all of our listeners, all of our viewers. We form the community. We are all here to help each other. And so we appreciate you all as well. So thanks, everyone. We'll be back with a new show next week. And then, of course, we'll be back in a month with another mastermind as well. And we'll definitely recap the Northern Spruce Summit. I'm sure there's going to be a lot to recap from that as well. So Thanks, everybody.
Upmarket is a production of Upmarket Studios and is produced by Molly Peart and edited by Bethany Diedrich. Our wish for you this week is to not have to do any Friday Night Twilight shoots. Thank you for everything.